Hey, what's up guys? It's Bye here. Today video, I want to share with you guys some information with everyone regarding how much a free-to-play or low spender can gain for every KvK. From that information, I will tell you guys what I think is a reasonable amount of death troops that a free-to-play or low spender player should have for each KvK. And I will also let you guys know a problem with Rise of Kingdom community right now. So let's go right into it here with a spreadsheet that I prepared for you guys. Um, so here, I got a whole bunch of information here. So the first one we have is day between each KvK. So from my own observation, it is around 80 to 100 days between each KvK. So this is the number of days between the beginning of each KvK, right? I am not comparing the end of one KvK and the beginning of the other KvK. That is not the time between KvK. For me, the time between KvK is the start of KvK 1 and the start of KvK 2. That is the time between each KvK for me. So that is the number of days that I use to calculate the amount of troops that each players can gain for every KvK. So here we have a different tier of troop as well, tier 4 and tier 5, because that does affect the amount of troop training depend on each tier troop you are training. So first, I have here is the normal troop training every day, right? So like for just troop training every day without using any speed up, uh, everybody can train up to around 6,400 tier 4 troop here and around 4,400 tier 5 troop here. Show you guys quickly here in the game. Um, if I am training D4, right, for 1 day, 1 day time, I can train, I can see right here, around 1600, 1650 tier 4 tube right here with no buff, with no tile. Well, it could be a little bit lesser, but you get an idea. Same go here for tier 5. You're getting about 1,100. So like 1,600 here, right? 1,600 here for tier 4. So 1,600 times 4, right? So there are 4 different tube types that you can train. So that is what I come up with the number here, which is 6,400. So like 6,400 tier 4 every day. And about 4,400 tier 5 every day. That is just for training normally. If for like an active players who always log in every day, like the tube training and keep doing tube training every day. Um, so from that number, right, I am giving. So from that number right there, and for the amount from the amount of the number of days between each KvK, like everybody can get about from 512,000 to 640,000 troop here for each KvK for tier 4 and about 252,000 tier 5 here, right? 252,000 to 440,000 for tier 5 from just training every day. And besides the number of troops you can get every day, you also able to gain a whole bunch of like speed up every day as well. You can either gain them from alliance gift, some of the random events. You can get them from buying the item in the courier station in the expedition. You can also gain them from killing barbarian, destroying barbarian fort. So here are some of the number. So the number are estimated. So like for alliance gift, depend on how big of like a spending alliance you in, you can get from somewhere around between 2 to like 6 day worth of speed up. The number of speed up from alliance gift can vary a lot depend on the alliance. So for example here, um I keep some of the item here for DN1. I would say DN1 is a pretty big spending alliance. And as you can see right here, right, we got sometimes you can get some speed up here from opening some of the chests. Golden chests are not always guaranteed speed up. That is an FYI for you guys. Sometimes you get VIP points. Sometimes you get some like speed up here, but they are not always guaranteed. So like depend on how much of how much your alliance willing to spend. For like a big alliance, you can definitely get somewhere around 7 days, 7 8 days worth of speed up. But like for like a normal alliance or like a free to play alliance, you will probably get a lot less. So that is why you see like a huge range in the number of speed up there. So here you can see that I'm saying that like for like a free to play or low spender land, you can probably get around two days worth of speed up. But like for like a big spending lands like DN1, you probably gonna get about six day worth of speed up every day. So this is every day, right? So like from some of the random event as well. So someday you got some event that gives speed up, someday you don't. So this is just an average overall here. So random events you get about like, well, I would say about 1 day worth of speed up every day, on average. Um, for courier station and expedition here, sometimes, right, depend on how active you are, right? Sometimes you can buy the item from the courier station, or the expedition as well. If you active enough, you can definitely buy them out. Clear out the shop here. You get a decent amount of speed up if you can like keep buying the item from the courier station using resources. So that is another way for you to get speed up there. So like I'm giving it like from 1 to 1.5 days. From getting the speed up from either the courier station or the expedition there. Sometimes it depends on your luck, right? Sometimes the courier station give you a lot of a free, not a free, but you can buy the speed up with a lot of resources. Sometimes you cannot. Um, you also able to get speed up from killing barbarian as well if you using your action point every day. My estimate is about 1 day worth of speed up if you using all your action point every day here. Um, if you like chaining, if you like doing like barbarian chaining, you can definitely gain more. So that give us the total speed up you can gain each day for like a low spender or like a free to play players. You can get from 4 to 9.5 days worth of speed up there every day. And with that speed up, you can either use them for troop training or you can save them for fighting on the open field, right? Because you know that when you fight on the open fields, you require a lot of like speed up for healing. So let's say if I'm gonna use all my speed up here to train my troop every day, then I'm gonna end up with no speed up for healing. So I wouldn't be able to fight on the open field when it comes to KvK. So that is something you have to keep in mind as well. But assuming that I'm gonna use all of my speed up that I gain every day to train troops, with that additional speed up, I'm gonna be able to train from 6,400 tier 4 to like 15,000 tier 4 here. Depend on how big of like a pay to win alliance you're in, or I can train 4,400 to like 10,450 tier 5 troop here. So like a total troop gain from the speed up, that if I'm going to use all of my speed up that I gain to train troop, is somewhere around 112,000 to 1.5 million troop here for tier 4, and 250,000 to a million tier 5 troop here. And we are going to add up the two number here, right? The troop training from normal training and the troop training from speed up. I am looking at around 1.240, 1.25 million here, 1.25 million to 2.16 million tier 4 units that you can train every KvK, and 700 to 1.5 million tier 5 unit here every KvK. If you're going to use every single thing, right, all your speed up, everything to train your troop, and you gotta be left with nothing to help with fighting. So, so with this number, right, what can I tell you guys from this number right here? So, okay, so to just make sure that this number is somewhat like close to the reality, right, to the real number, I'm gonna show you guys a quick of my account quickly. So on my account, I play the game about 1,000 days, right? Let round it up here, 1,000 days. My current troop count is 1.9 million, right? 1.9 million troop count. Ignore like we got like a few tier 4 here, tier 1 here, doesn't matter. So let's say 1.9 million troop here. And I have about 11.3, right? Or let's say 11.4 million dead troop here. So 11.4 million plus, let's say 2 million here. So that gave me about 13 point, about like 13.4 million tubes that I've been able to gain since the very beginning, since day one. So like 1,000 day, 1,000 days of playing, and I only have a 13.4 million tubes. So that means each day, each day I can gain about 13,000 tube, right? So let's go back to the spreadsheet here. So for myself, I got about 13,000 tube every day. And if you look at the number here, right? Um, for tier 4, right? For training, each day everybody can train 6,400 tube here. And additional tube gain each day if you speed up is from somewhere around 6,400 to 15,200 here. So if you add 6,400 with another 6,400 here, it's get you around 12,400 right there. So it's kind of very pretty close to what I have. I do I do train tubes from time to time as well, and I was in like a free to play alliance for a longest time. I just recently moved to the N1, which is like a pay to win alliance, which is kind of like balance it out a little bit there. And I don't often train a lot of tube, or I say a lot my speed up for fighting on the open field. So like I am somewhere around, I would say around like I am somewhere like at the kind of like the bottom of like the number of tubes that I can gain. Um, like some other people, they might be able to gain more tube from training if they focus more on tube training. So just to show you guys that the number is kind of like pretty close here. And if you might be questioning, hey, how how close are the number here, right? You can look at my account and you can get an idea right there. So here, right, the number here is telling you that you gain about like 12,400 tubes every day right there for every player. So so like here is the number, right? Here is the number of tubes that like free to play or low spender players can gain every KvK, right? So like 1.2 million to like 2.1 million T4. So let's say everybody got trained T4. So let's focus with T4 tube here. And how much do you think? How much do you think like a free to play player or low spender player can sacrifice for every KvK, right? Uh, like if let's say if if us like if the free to play or low spender player is going to sacrifice 2 million tube every KvK, like he or she's gotta be on the deficit. Right? They gotta keep losing their power, right? Or they could just never get back to where they are, and that is a big problem, right? Um, so like I would say every KvK, you have to decide on how much troop you can sacrifice, and will that affect your account? Will that affect some other event that you might need your troop for? Um, so from this number right here, right? Um, like, and this is a number for if a player only use their speed up for just troop training only, right? That player is not going to save any speed up for any sort of like, hey, I'm not gonna save any speed up for fighting on the open field, right? So this is for using the speed up for troop training only, and I would say on like an average, I would say like an average free to play or low spender player, you are looking around somewhere around like 1.2 million tube, 1.2 million T4 tube. You can gain for each KvK, I would say around that number. Um, and that if you're going to spend some like speed up for training. So like should you be killing more than 1.2 million tube? um that is definitely up to you to decide, but like for me, like personally, I wouldn't recommend any free to play or low spender player to kill more than 1 million tube every KvK, because if you're going to kill more than 1 million tube every KvK, it's going to affect your account by a lot. And you also see that like a lot of people, they kind of know it already. And like when the KvK going on and on, when they hit that number of death tubes that they have, you can start seeing that people stop reinforcing the building, stop reinforcing the structure. Even though when you look at your alliance like players, right, their number, there's a whole bunch of people, they still have like somewhere around like 60 million, 70 million power. but they stop reinforcing the structure because it get to the point that they feel like, okay, it's not worth sacrificing their troop anymore, and that is why they stop reinforcing. That is where they hit the limit for their troops. So that is what I think, right? To be honest, I I would say like for like a free to play or low spender players, if you want to contribute to your kingdom, I would say you can contribute to your kingdom somewhere around from between 500,000 death tube to like 1 million death tube, depending on how active fighting you are on the open field. If you like a very active fighter, I definitely think that you can sacrifice less compared to someone who like not super active on the open field fighting. Um, so that is what I think, right? So with that, I also want to tell you guys with another issue, not another issue. I want to tell you guys an issue that I've been noticing with the Rise of Kingdom community. That is people having unrealistic expectation for other players when it comes to KvK, right? People expect you to sacrifice a lot of troops, and people are telling you that, oh, look at that, like 400 million power players, he or she dropping like 100 million, 200 million power. Why can't you just drop 20 million power? Or why can't you just sacrifice 2 million troop or 3 million troop? Like he sacrificed 10, 15 million troop right there. Why can't you do something like a portion of what he just did? And that is like a very wrong comparison, right? You cannot compare like a super low spender or like a free to play player with like a big pay to win player. So like a 400 million accounts, you lose 200 million power. It doesn't affect your account at all, right? You still have a whole bunch of troop left in your city. You can still do all other event without any problem. But for like a 80 million, 70 million account, or like a 60 million account, losing 20 million powers would mean that you're going to lose pretty much like 50% to like 60% of your troop right there, right? If you look at my account right now, right, for this KvK, um, for this KvK, I killed quite a lot of troop, right? So I went from 85 million to like 67 million power here, which is about what, um, 15 million power, right? So like I was 82 million, I lost 15 million power, and my troop was what, right? I was around like three. It was around like 4 million 4 million troop, I think. And now I'm down to like 1.9, right? And a whole bunch of sieges here, which is not useful, right? And it definitely affect me how I play in Ark of Osiris and other event as well. Um, so that is kind of give you an idea, right? It's like a it's like a big difference. It makes like a big impact for like a low spender or like a free to play player to lose 20 million power comparing to like a big spender, right? It doesn't affect them at all, I would say. But for like some player like myself or some other free to play players, for you guys to lose 20 million power, that is a lot. And I think that is what been seeing, right? People trying to compare, trying to be, oh, look at that player, right? He like look at that big player, like he lose so much power. And I expect you guys kind of like, hey, living up to that standard, which is like there are players that can be an inspiration, but to have that expectation to have a free to play or low spender players can also losing 20 million powers every KvK. That is very unrealistic, even for myself, right? This KvK, I'm dropping 15 million power. Luckily, I am getting back 50% of my troop, but if I'm not able to get back 50% of the troop right there, it's gonna be pretty much impossible for me to keep losing 15 million power every KvK, right? Because I cannot get back that 15 million power by the next KvK, and I'm gonna keep seeing my account going down, right? And for us, like player in Rise of Kingdom, everybody want to see your account growing and not going down. Um, I think that is what I've been seeing. One of the issue, I would say, one of the issue I see with Rise of Kingdom community is that I think that is that like that peer pressure that, hey, or you gotta sacrifice more troop to make you look good. You gotta sacrifice more troop to make you feel like you're kind of like a warrior, or you contribute to your kingdoms. To be honest with you guys, right, I was king of one of the kingdom as well, right, 1291. Back in the day, right, I also asked people to sacrifice more troop, right, go hard in KvK as well. But to be honest, think back, when I look back right now, I just feel like maybe it's not right, right? It's not right to ask everybody to just like killing everything, right? And even when you do that, like people can think for themselves as well. And a lot of time when you're asking your players to sacrifice everything, often there only like a handful of players in your lands going to do that, and those are the players who gonna suffer, right? Those are those loyal players gonna suffer the most. And I feel like sometimes you just have to realize that okay, this is a loss, and maybe it is a time to call it the day and maybe just surrender, right? In KvK. That's what I think. Um, so yeah, right. So that is something that what I want to share with you guys. Thanks for watching the videos, guys.